All right, guys, so here is the updated track plan for what I'm planning. So here's the layout. I did a couple of corrections. I fixed the angle down here. I had it kind of only going across 1 foot. It's actually 2 foot long here. I had to adjust the track a little bit. I added in the Peco tracks here, or Peco turnouts. Added in a little bit of a run out over here. And I added the 2 staging areas, or I'm going to call it the locomotive area right here. This is where they'll be stored when not in use. And then I adjusted, this whole section here was kind of off a little bit. It was a little bit too close. I had to move it around a little bit, but not a lot of changes here. Just sort of adjusted it to what I actually currently have. So the big changes are on the, I guess I'll call this the north side of the layout here. We still have our runaround, but I've made it longer. I never liked the sort of like the second. This was the first runaround. I had a second runaround here that went over to the scrapyard, and this is the third runaround. I never really liked that. And just in operation, it was a little hokey trying to switch out, especially since it kind of came off of the other runaround I had over here. So we got rid of that, that third runaround. We have one long runaround. It goes from one end to the other here now. And then the businesses down here, which let me go ahead and pop them in, buildings here, Royal Plywood and Shasta Beverage here. They're going to get serviced by I guess a spur and turnout here at the beginning of the runaround, because if you look at the actual maps of how the layout works in real life, how the prototype looks, the trains come in and then there's split offs that go off into a certain section and then service a couple of industries. There's a runaround off of there. They kind of service other industries. So I'm trying to kind of model that and sort of stay true to what the prototype is, but obviously I've got to compress it and modify it and mold it to fit my layout here. So in theory, train leaves the yard and heads all the way down here. And then splits off here and services 2 industries that are right here and here that could easily be serviced off of the runaround here, but we'll make it work. But it adds a little bit more track to the layout, which trying to balance having enough track to make it interesting and having not a ton of track to have area for scenery and sort of having less is more sort of concept. But and I think having the 2 industries down here at the bottom, instead of coming off of the runaround up here, will give me that there's a nice balance there between the 2. The other change that I'm going to make is this business here, which I believe is Southern Wine and Spirits, switched around how their spur goes. So it's if you look at the prototype, most of them, and I don't know if the correct terminology, but they, if the train's heading this way, it pretty much just branches off and goes into the industry, as opposed to sort of switching back and I guess pushing it into the industry, which this one was, and this one is too, right, for these 2 industries. So I wanted to have something a little bit more prototypical, and what it also let me do is get rid of the turnout that I had for this one over here on the sort of off of the main line, and then it let me have a lot more track frontage for the actual business. So this industry here could probably start up here, or I could even add another industry here. So that's the biggest change that I'm going to do, along with getting rid of the sort of hokey curved runaround over here. So this recycling scrapyard is going to be serviced off of the the sort of main line, right here. I may split this into a second track. We'll see how much room we have, but that's farther down the road. I think the initial first track is going to be enough. And then, yeah, like I said, I made a few adjustments over here just to kind of placement of the actual rails to what I currently have. And this is pretty much what I currently have. I'll have to check on this curve here to see if it looks close enough. So I'm, this is just a helpful diagram, and then things will get slightly adjusted as we go. But now the spacing's a little bit different, more towards what I've already got on the layout. As far as the yard, this is kind of interesting because these are Peco tracks here. These are the ones that I've got, the 91 and 92s that I purchased and just got the other day. So we'll see how close this is. This looks pretty tight. And the way I've got it laid out now, it actually takes up pretty much the whole foot here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 tracks in just over, that line is 6 inches. So 7 or 8 inches for 4 tracks. Not quite sure why that's kind of looking like that, but whatever, we'll make it fit. I don't plan on adding more track here or anything. We'll just maybe extend these somehow. I don't know. Well, once I get the actual Peco tracks, the turnouts put in here, we'll see how this looks. The other idea may be, I was thinking of adding a little bit more real estate to the yard. So kind of adding in maybe 6 inches at the bottom down here. I can extend this out and continue this out, and then have it close out over here. And that really more for not actually changing where the track is here, but maybe doing a turnout here and just having storage for locomotives, or maybe even like an industry over here. I'm not sure, a small one. Because what I found so far, like I said earlier, I think when I was current testing the layout and everything, you really spend a good amount of time putting together your train here in the yard, and then it's sort of like phase 2. Okay, now we're going to start moving out, and we're going to start doing the switching into wherever the train's heading. So that's the plan. Let's go take a look at it as it is right now, and we'll point out a couple of the differences. So let's go take a look. We're going into the weekend, so we're going to be doing some track work, as we discussed there. Going to be changing around the other side of the layout right here, and we're going to be pulling out some of this track and reworking it like we talked about on the diagram. Also, I went ahead and I did purchase all new turnouts for pretty much the rest of the layout. So I had Peco turnouts, the Electra Frog 91s and 92s. Those are the small left and rights. I have those for the yard over on the other side. I think what I'm going to do, I have enough of those sitting right over here to do this side of the layout. And since that's what's going to be changing, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use those turnouts over here this weekend, change out this thing so we can do some test runs on it, test operations on it. And then I went ahead and I ordered all of the other turnouts that I would need to replace everything with Peco for the remainder of the layout. So that includes all these guys over here, these guys right here, and so on and so forth. There's a couple of Pecos here already. There's one there and another one over there, but this one over here is going to get replaced, and we're going to have a new Peco sitting around here someplace for the scrapyard. And you can see we already got some scrap there waiting to get loaded on. And by the way, so I do have the other strip of LED lights. Let me just show you what these are. These are the ones that I got. Rgb LED strip lights. And so unfortunately, like I had said, that on Amazon, these were like $15.99, I think. 16 foot, roughly strip. Unfortunately, I was looking at the description, and I was looking for white and RGB. It said these were RGB and white, but it's kind of false advertising a little bit. They're only RGB. So even though if I look up at this like I did in the other video, and there we go, get it to focus there. Even though it said white, this is as white as it gets, and it's pretty blue. Anyway, I do have it up on the other side here. Like I've got one strip on this side and one strip over on the yard side, and I am using them for just a little bit of lighting and a little bit of ambiance. So when I'm running stuff in the evening, I put on some nice orange red sunset, just like we have out here in California. There we go. So I think that's it for now. Just a quick update. The plans for this weekend. So hopefully we will. Oh, you know what? One other thing I was going to say. I don't think I mentioned it. I'm going to lose the road here. So this road right here that runs right through the center, that's going to be gone. I think it's just a little bit too much. And we're going to have a road right over here on this end, and then a road up over here on the, I'm going to say the south side right here, because this is heading south towards Huntington Beach, all the way around. I know I hate when people swing the camera around because everything just looks like a big blur, but I'm trying not to. Sorry guys. And I'm going to try to use my tripod a little bit more. It's just easier when everything's sort of in flux here and being worked on to just give a great overview of everything by hand holding this. So I'm trying to be as steady as I can. Anyway, also the new loco replacement has arrived, as you saw, and no problems. Works good. Both pickups on the left, or the front and back trucks are working. All the LEDs are good. So having some fun here just with this guy, and testing out the layout, continuing with it. So until next time guys, take care, stay safe, bye.